Hello there, welcome back. It's been about 42 hours since I last vlogged, and it's been a pleasant relief.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
So what you've missed, essentially, because there's no Monday the 16th, essentially, recorded on these vlogs. You last saw us just going for dinner on Sunday night. What you've missed is travelling. A lot of travelling. We got up on Monday at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is midnight UK time, and had breakfast. Yeah, barely. Had a couple of croissants, and then got on a coach and drove for about an hour and 15 minutes to the airport in Mauritius, where we discovered that the inbound flight was late, and so the outbound flight was going to be late as well. Really worth getting up at 3 for that. And we sat at the very new airport. It's not very big, but it's very nicely done. Watched the sunrise, got on a plane, left Mauritius at about 9:30 local time, which is 6:30 UK time. Flew for 11 and a half hours, landed in the UK at about 6:15, and then got on a train and came home, had some noodles and went to sleep. We went to bed about 9:30 UK time, or about 9:15 UK time. We'd been up since midnight, so it was quite a long day. So you haven't missed anything worth seeing. And now we're back in the UK, and it's spring, and it looks lovely, and I'm working this evening, so I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to pop into Kew, see what the new leaves are like, because when we left it was all blossom, and now there's no blossom, it's just leaves. So I just want to sort of reacclimatise myself. So you may or may not have noticed that the last couple of videos I've upped the frame rate a bit, which reduces the wonky blurriness slightly, but also everything looks awesome. So it's a fantastic May we're having this year. The weather sort of improved as soon as we left the country, but the flowers are out, most of the blossoms are over, but the leaves are on the trees. Everyone's cutting the grass. It smells fantastic. I mean, there isn't really a better time to be outdoors. The problem is most of you probably have 9-to-5 jobs, and I do sympathise, honestly, but if you get even the slightest chance to not be in work, you know, maybe you've got a late cold or something, it's a Easter cold that's crept up on you, then you might find the excuse to be outdoors. I really would take it. About living in this country, primarily because of the weather, the coldness and the greyness, and I always say if I could I'd live closer to the equator. By closer I mean probably southern Europe, to be honest. Not that far away really. Thank God for free movement of people, eh? But anyway, I have to say that spring in England when the weather is good is amazing. It is genuinely amazing. Being away for 2 weeks makes you appreciate it more. Although I don't necessarily appreciate the aircraft that buzz over my head every 90 seconds. That said, I would probably fly 12 hours to see English springtime. if I didn't already live here. Why is there a van in Kew Gardens? Yeah, it is that good. English spring is worth it when it's like this. It's worth a trip halfway around the world. Anyhow, this has all been far too nice, so I'm going to head back and get myself ready to go out to Camden tonight for the Arquiva Awards. Back to reality. So let me tell you a little bit about the award show that I'm at this evening, working at. It is the Arquiva Commercial Radio Awards, and the reason I'm going to tell you a bit about this one is because it's one of the very few that I know anything about. It is awards only for the commercial side of the radio industry. There is an award show which used to be called the Sony Awards, the Radio Academy Awards, I believe they're now called, which is for all of radio. But this is just the Commercial Radio Awards. And I think it stems, if I'm honest, from the fact that back in the day, commercial radio really didn't pick up many Sonys, and so decided to have their own award show. It's long and the short of it. The reason most awards exist is so somebody can make money. Now, what I'm about to say next, you might not like, and you might think it's just sort of, I don't know, sore loser syndrome or just general arrogance. That's your opinion, that's fine. I have never been a fan of award shows in the radio industry. In the commercial side, at least, it's a massively understaffed business, and to devote enough time to creating an award entry does actually take away time from making radio. And in some cases, quite a lot of time. It's quite a lengthy process, and it's a costly process. You have to pay to enter, of course. And I've never been a fan. I've never chosen to enter anything into any award show because I figured my time was better used. And frankly, you can tell whether you're doing well or not because they have radio audience listening figures. So I've never been a big fan of this. I think it's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and it's a good excuse for piss up, which some people might need. But it'll be interesting to see. There'll be a lot of familiar faces. And, you know, they obviously would like the recognition of their peers, which is something I was never a big fan of. Which is a nice way of saying that I didn't rate the opinion of a lot of my peers when I was in the radio industry. So getting an award from them is reasonably meaningless, for me at least. Obviously, different people have different feelings on this, and obviously these are very successful awards, so that's why people attend. And I'm very happy to be working at them. In fact, I'd much rather be working at them than be nominated at them, so things have worked out all right. I'm just going to listen to the Neil Bentley explanation of what's happening.
We've done all the graphics.
Just looking around very
So she'll have Toby out taking social photographs with the winners go on stage. Then it's pinged automatically. So we would have filled the left-hand frame with some stuff from the early evening.
Yeah.
As soon as the winner's won and Toby's taken a picture of them on stage, it gets printed here. We print it off. We put it into the frame, a runner picks it up and then he drops it on their table.
Another fun time award show in the bag, albeit slightly pointless, but everyone seems to have a good time, so that's what's important. And yeah, I'm off to bed because tomorrow I have to be up and back in Camden for something completely unrelated. So the fun continues. Camden. Well, you know what? It's nearly summer and the leaves are on the trees, but today the weather is a little bit more challenging, let's say. But, you know, it's nice to have variation. I've had sort of, 27 degrees and sunny for weeks, so this is new. Anyway, I'm going to get some lunch. So I'll be honest, I'm not feeling too great today, but I was working last night, I wasn't drinking. I've just got a bit of a headache, and I think it's sort of post-holiday hangover mixed with being in a room with that many radio people. So, to be honest, it was nice to see a few people last night, but on the whole, let's put it this way, it's a room that's probably 60% of socially dysfunctional people, and that's me being nice. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to a talk this evening from the director of Kew Gardens in Kew, actually in the Jodrell Lecture Theatre, which I've never been to, and I've never actually been in the gate that I'm about to go in as well, which is the Jodrell pedestrian gate. I'm slowly ticking off the things in the gardens that I've never done. one thing at a time. I really want to visit the nature reserve, as I mentioned a couple of vlogs ago, but they do have tours around it at the moment during Friends Week, but unfortunately I'm working and I can't get in, so that's still on the bucket list, as is go upstairs in Cambridge Cottage, which I will do before the wedding. So yeah, one thing at a time. There's some amazing houses for sale here. They've both just been refurbished. I mean, what the actual hell. Anyway, to the lecture. That was fascinating. Got a real feel for what's happening in Kew for the next couple of years, including my favourite bit, which is the refurbishment of the pagoda. We saw a still of what it's gonna look, what it might look like, I should say. It looks amazing. I'm so excited. The only downside might be that it's under construction when we're getting married, but it'll be worth it in the end. There's loads of exciting things happening. If you want details, then I didn't film anything further in there because they filmed the entire lecture, and it'll go onto the Kew.org website. Two highlights: the Broadwalk, which is going to open very shortly, end of June, which I'll show you obviously, and Hive, which opens again in June as well. That's excellent, and they're building a little treehousey thing, and they are opening to the public the nature reserve, which I was just talking about how I couldn't have never been. So that's amazing. I realise I get very excited about Kew, sometimes probably to the point of absurdity from your perspective, but I love the place. What can I say? So there we are. Anyway, I'm going to go home and have a pizza because that's an awesome idea, and tomorrow I am back in Camden. Happy Friday. It's ever so nice out. It's nearly as warm in the sun here as it was in the shade in Mauritius. Nearly. Just popped out for a sandwich. Just at the moment the weather's been at its absolute best, so that's good work. Not sure if my YouTube interview thing's going to happen this evening now because of schedules and what have you. We'll get to it at some point, but it's been proving quite difficult to find a time when I can actually sit down with these guys and have a chat. But if it does, then I'll let you know and see. For the time being though, I'm going to go back into the office, eat my excellent sandwich, and ponder on the weekend ahead. What are we doing next week / the weekend? I might see my parents. I think that's a possibility. I might be tidying a towpath, although the weather looks terrible. There are some open gardens, but again the weather looks terrible on the Sunday, which is a bit of a shame. And then next week I'm working everywhere. I'm up here and I'm also down in Vauxhall, so it's going to be, oh, and plus I have a committee meeting. I say a service delivery committee, so there's a lot going on next week, although not all of it particularly fascinating for you, so I'd like to apologise for that, but that's just how it is. There we go. Thank you ever so much for watching this week's vlog. It should have been shorter, but it wasn't because I massively overfilmed. I'm sorry it's ever so late. That's entirely my fault. But the good news is it means there'll be another one along in just a moment, just like buses and that. I think that's good news. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will watch the next one. And if you did, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe by clicking the little red button. And then you get notified every week when there's a new video up. So thank you again, and I'll see you next week.
Toby.